Hello, it's Natalie Zangon with another audio of the day. Today's talk is going to be intimacy, sexuality, and the Torah. What does the Torah teaches us about sexuality and intimacy? What do we learn from it? What is the Jewish perspective on the concept of sexuality and intimacy, and how do we apply it to our life nowadays? So it's always important to know anything such as these topics that comes up. We go back and we look at it. What does the Torah say about it? So I want you to know that according to Torah and biblical teaching, sexuality and intimacy, when it's done in the right format between a husband and wife, it's considered as a good deed. It's something that's encouraged, it's blessed upon, it's something that's needed, that brings the couple together. And when you go and you read on in the book of Genesis, in the book of Bereshit, the first chapter, you can learn so much about what makes humans different than animals, what makes humans on a different level than it comes to the animal being. In chapter 1, we learn about the different creatures that were created on day number 5, and it goes back and forth in describing how Adam was created. So first of all, with the animals, it says God tells the earth to bring out forward the animals, and they come forward. God tells the ocean, and they come forward, and he says, be fruitful and multiply, and they do as God has said. But when it talks about Adam, there's 3-4 different categories of description of this complex being that God has created. First, he tells us that God himself takes from the earth of the ground, forms the Ha'adam, blows into his nostril, and creates Ha'adam, the first human being, which is the first creature that he calls Adam. Then he goes on to say, then God tells Adam that you're going to be in charge of all the animals, and you're going to name them, on all that good stuff. Then he goes on to say, Hashem God took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden to work it and guard it. And then it says that you can eat from all of the trees except the tree of knowledge. You must not eat that for that day you shall die. Then it says, Hashem God said, it is not good that man will be alone. I will make him a helper corresponding to him. Now Hashem God had formed out of the ground every beast of the field and every bird of the sky, and brought them to man, and the man assigned names. So Adam, this being that was a complex man and woman, God brings them, and then for Adam to name him and be with them and see if there's any of them that match Adam, this male and female. So then he does as he says. So Hashem God, so basically, but as for man, he did not find a helper corresponding to him. That's chapter 1, line 20. So that God, Adam, this male and female, meets all the animals in the planet that was created. But as for Adam, he did not find a helper corresponding to him. So what does Hashem do? Hashem God cast a deep sleep upon the man, and he slept, and he took one of his sides. So the first being that was Adam is left as the male, and now God creates woman from that, but by taking a side of Adam, and it says one of the sides, and he filled in the flesh in its place. Then Hashem God fashioned the side that he had taken from the man into woman. Lesson number 1. The male factor of Ha'adam, that creature that was made from the earth that Hashem blew into, that creature gets left as the man, and the complexity of the inside of the Adam that God takes creates woman. So lesson number 1 that we learn here, men are more practical, logical, just like the earth of the ground, mendable in a very different level. The man creature is very simple as far as the mechanism goes, and it's not as complex as the woman. He was created from the earth of the ground, just like God created all the mammals, but the woman that he blessed with the Bina Yetera, that deep wisdom and that deep knowledge, becomes the woman. And it said that this time, what does it say? Then Hashem God fashioned the side he had taken from the man into a woman. He brought her to the man. He takes his complex woman and now brings it to the Adam. And then it says, And the man said, this time it is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman, for from man was she taken. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and cling on to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And we see here in the commentary, therefore a man shall leave. The Torah does not mean that a man should not continue to respect his parents, but that oneness, that intimate sexual oneness that we're talking about, Adam, Liot Adam, Basar Echad, only refers to human beings. We never heard that being told to the animal kingdom. We only heard about it towards the man. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Because when you're in that abundance of that intimacy, of that oneness, there is no shame. That euphoric connectivity, that the spirits, the two souls in the two bodies become that oneness, there's nothing to fear. It's like a mother and a child. It's that intimate union of that oneness. There is no shame. When it's all about the soul, when the connection, it's all about the body is a manifestation of that oneness, there is no shame, because that love, that connection is so deep, that yearning is so powerful, that there is no shame. So then it goes on to say, another, you shall neither eat from it. I have 1 minute. So another part that I wanted to share with you guys was, hold on. Oh, here. Then you go on to again. Now this is Bereshit chapter 4, line number 1. Now the man had known his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain. So look at this. According to the decree that man, they diverge also into the concept of how to serve God. Now the man had known va'adam yadea et ha'ishta. Yadea. The translation of the past reflection follows Rashi that the conception and the birth of Cain had occurred before the sin of Adam. But the one thing I want you to share with you is that Yadea, knowledge, is what sexuality is referred to according to the Torah, the Old Testament. So what is this trying to teach us? That the intimacy and sexuality that's performed between humans, between man and woman, husband and wife, is on a much, much deeper level than just a physical connection. It's not the same as the purvu that was told to the animals in the sea and the animals on the earth and animals and the birds of the sky. This connectivity, this union, this sexual bonding between a man, a husband, and a wife is something that's on a much deeper level. Intimacy is more than just a physical body coming together. Intimacy is opening yourself up from all the physical layers and tapping to that deeper side of your neshama and then unifying through that. As we know now, research and MRI and all of that teach us that when a man and a woman are intimate, their brain releases a chemical called oxytocin. Oxytocin is like the glue that brings people together. When the oxytocin is released, you no longer see logic. You feel a yearning, connection, bonding, desire. You judge the person favorably. It's a magical experience that God has put within our brain to help us build on our relationship. That is the same chemical that a woman produces and needs to go into labor and delivery and then to breastfeed her child. The power of the oxytocin is like the bonding chemical that brings the people together. The oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine gets released when a man, husband, and wife are also intimate and have relationship and the orgasm takes place. It unifies them in this abundance of oneness. What else does that? deep emotional conversation. The deep emotional conversation is also what brings it together. So what does the Yediyah teach us? What does it say that he got to know her? He turned to her and said, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, this I shall call Isha. Or under the chuppah he says, Hare at mekudesheli. From now on, you are holy to me. Now, because I married you, they're going to say the bracha of Yotzer HaAdam, because we marrying each other. What does this want to teach us? Because the Torah is saying, listen, listen, woman is created different than you. Woman has a different essence of herself. Woman bonds in a much, much different form than a man. A man's whole physical body, the reproductive system, everything is what? On the outside, out and about, revealing, very noticeable, very visible. It's right there. How is a woman? Woman is more on the inside. Woman is more deeper. Her emotional state, her mental state, her mindset, her biggest intimate sexual organ starts from her mind. In order for a woman to desire her husband, it starts from here. She needs to be in tune. She needs to feel good. She needs to feel peaceful. She needs to feel belonged. She needs to feel connected, appreciated. She needs to feel loved. That's how she lets her temple, which is her body, to loosen up and get comfortable. Her emotional mental state is one of the biggest factor that affects her body. And if her mindset is not at ease, if she's not at peace, if she's not feeling loved and good from within herself, it shows all over. And her sexual organs are internal, because that's what a woman is. Her resemblance is all about internal. And even pregnancy, even the wonders of what happens in her body, in her rechem, the merciful place of her uterus is within. That's what a woman is. Women need to understand their power and their kochot. They need to understand their ability, the holiness that resides within their body. A woman's capability of producing children is out of this world. A man, his testes has filled with sperm and semen and this, and millions of them, of maybe one of them can turn into a pregnancy. A woman ovulates one egg every 28 days. One egg. Her body goes through this whole system to mature one egg, to release one egg. Her uterus develops a lining just in case a pregnancy comes for one egg. The woman is all about that. Her rechem, her merciful, her patience. That's the koach of a woman. A woman should never underestimate her power. We're learning about the parashat Korach, and that's a powerful lesson for us not to ever forget the big lesson from Korach. How did Korach ended up doing what he did? Because his wife was very unhappy with him. She compared him, she judged him, she put words in her mind, and Korach's id and his ego got triggered. Why should Moshe be the one? Why should he be the one that becomes the this and that? Why can't I be? Why can't I be the high priest? And that itself is what got him to destroy himself. Unlike Moshe, his sister Miriam motivated his parents to go together to get pregnant again with Moshe. His mother Yocheved, when she realized his life is dangerous, she put him on the river. She went beyond herself. She tapped into her super ego, gave blessing, and put him on the river. Batya, another female Pharaoh's daughter. Batya, what? Rachamim, the merciful, comes, and what does she do? She goes in the river, takes him in, and says, from the water I took him, I'm going to call him Moshe. And what? Then he grows up, and who? Sipporah, his wife, supports him and encourages him and stands behind him. What does all of this teach us? The power and the chokhmah of a woman. A man's intimidation of himself and being compared, he comes from what? The earth. You can either, as a wife, make your wife make your husband as a wife, either make him feel like a dirt or a vineyard of possibilities. The woman has that chokhmah. How does a man feel like that royal king and goodness? From the way his wife greets him when he comes home, from the value that they have, from that bonding, that intimacy, that connectivity that makes him feel like you belong to me and I belong to you. Women out there that are watching this video, don't underestimate the kochot we have, the ability that God has put within us. He's given us powers that are abundance. Eshet Chayil Mimtza, who's the woman of valor? Her value is above price of ruby. It's you that have to know your value and what you bring into your home. The more there is shalom, peace, and harmony in your home, the more the oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin is produced between you and your husband, the stronger the unit, the less likely it is to get impacted by the outside. So what do you need to do? Guard your eyes, guard your ear, and zoom into your spouse. Bring the best out of yourself first, then bring out the best out of your spouse. Your words have power. The words you use to look at yourself and the messages you give yourself affects your whole body and your whole being and what you feel about yourself. Look in the mirror and say, Hashem, you blessed me with so much goodness. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my goodness. Point out the good you see in yourself. Why does the Torah tells us about dim the light, create the intimacy? Because when you want to be intimate in the spiritual world, you don't want to get distracted by the physicality. You want to tune in and create the goodness. Don't point at things that you don't think are right. Point at the things that you know they're beautiful about yourself. From all the people in the world, I got blessed to be your wife and you got blessed to be my husband. We're so lucky to have each other. Talk about the goodness. Create that intimacy and that sense of belonging. And these are the steps we're going to take into bringing Mashiach and the building of the third Beit HaMikdash. It starts from the husband and wife, from the bedrooms, the respect, the kavod, the love, which is what we're lacking more than anything else. Why are kids going off the derech? Why are people going into drugs? Because the children are not seeing the ahava between the husband and wife. The true love and Yiddishkeit starts from the home, between the husband and wife. You want the Shekhinah in your home? Create the goodness and the positivity between you and your spouse. Be like Tzipporah and Yochevet and Miriam, like the way they were to Moshe. Create that positivity and goodness, and it all starts from within you. Do not underestimate yourself. What did Miriam do when they passed the Red Sea? She brought her tambourine and she sang and danced. She never told herself, who am I, this little person? No, no, no. She knew her value. Know your value. Because we were created in the image of God, according to his will, kiritzono. We say that every morning. Do not underestimate that. This is Natalie Zangon. Thank you so much for watching. NatalieZangon@gmail.com. Make a mission to share this video. You could be a source of goodness to someone else's life. Woman, care for yourself, love yourself, appreciate yourself, see the goodness. You are full of positivity and so much good is within you. Allow yourself to feel enough. Feel good, love, and blessed.